Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Good morning. Today is Friday, January 26th. My name is Judge Martin. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. If you do not have a landlord-tenant matter, you are likely in the wrong courtroom. If you're not sure, please use the chat function on Zoom. You may send a request to Mary Ann, that is my secretary. She will help you get where you need to be. At approximately 9:15, this courtroom will be locked. There will be a short video that plays that explains the legal rights you have available to you. After that video is played, every case will be called. You will have the opportunity to speak to either the attorney for your landlord or a representative for your landlord. If you're able to resolve the case this morning, we will take that settlement or agreement on the record. If you're unable to resolve the case will be adjourned over to February the 7th. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Oh, hey, Paul, give me my green phone. Okay.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning again. This is courtroom number one. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant cases. At approximately 9:15, the court will lock this main session. There will be a short video that plays that explains the rights available to tenants this morning. After that video plays, you will have an opportunity to speak to either your landlord or a representative for your landlord. If you're able to reach an agreement this morning, we will place the terms of the agreement on the record. If you're unable to reach an agreement, this matter will be adjourned to February 7th. A time will be given to you at a later date. Attorneys, please have your chats open. If you have filed a dismissal of your case this morning, it has not reached the file, you may put the case number in the chat and we will remove it from the docket. Tenants or defendants, if you receive an invitation or a request to join a breakout room, please go there. That's court staff trying to get you labeled or make sure that your audio is connected or provide some updated information. Again, we will lock this main session in about 6 minutes and play a video. Please be prepared to have your video on, be unmuted, and state your name when your case is called. You should not be drinking, smoking, or driving. Thank you.
Billy wasn't nice. She said you wasn't nice.
Who said that?
Ginger. You said you weren't nice.
I was nice.
But you weren't nice to certain people.
You know why she didn't? She thought I wasn't nice. It's because whenever she was around me, we were around Brenda and stuff, and that was irritating.
Yep.
Good morning. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant matters. If you're not here for a landlord-tenant case, you're likely in the wrong place. You may send a chat or a message to Mary Ann or Carly. They will help you get where you are supposed to be. We are now locking this main session. There will be a short video that plays that explains the legal rights you have available to you this morning as a tenant. After the video plays, every case will be called. You will have an opportunity to speak to your landlord's attorney or a representative from the office. If you're able to reach an agreement, the court will take the terms of that agreement on the record. If you do not reach an agreement, your case will be adjourned to February the 7th. If you are drinking, please stop drinking. If you're driving, please stop driving. If you're smoking, please stop smoking. That being said, attorneys, have your chats open. You will be made co-hosts. You will be able to move parties around after the conclusion of the video. Mary Ann. That is so not the video.
Right about that.
Happy Friday. Take your cap off. This is court.
Welcome to the 34th District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property, or any part of it, is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal Help for Homeless Veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC-508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
Two 40086 LT Huron Estates versus Holly Agee, AGEE. Your names for the record.
Gabriel Lacy, P79685 for Huron Estates, Your Honor.
AG. Ms. Lacy, we don't show a posting or personal service in this matter.
That is correct, Your Honor. I actually have a note on this file that they were unable to serve. There wasn't enough time to serve, so we probably need to reschedule another hearing for that date. So that's fine.
February 7th at 1 p.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
2400187 LT. Ms. Lacy, I note your appearance for the record. Wendy Augustinus. Same issue, Ms. Lacy. We're showing no service in this matter.
For this one, I do have a certificate mailing. Your Honor, if I could just confirm with my lady right outside my door regarding service.
Ms. Lacy, we'll go through the docket. It's not showing in on base. We'll put it over to the 7th at
Okay.
1 p.m. If the service issue is fixed before that date, just please upload it to on base.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. 2400188 LT, Huron Estates versus Brittany Brandon.
I'm here.
Ma'am, state your name.
Brittany Brandon.
Ms. Brandon, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I have not.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Lacy for Huron Estates this morning?
Sure, yeah.
You'll be moved into a breakout room. She'll be there momentarily, or someone from her office will be there momentarily to discuss this case with you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. 2400195 LT, Huron Estates versus Nicholas Derminer. Derminer. Same issue, Ms. Lacy. We're showing no service. We'll put it over to February 7th at 1 p.m. Two 2400232 LT, Joseph Caneo versus Marcus Gray.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Sims on behalf of the plaintiff.
Marcus Gray. Unmute yourself, sir. State your name for the record.
Mr. Gray, please unmute yourself.
Marcus Gray.
Thank you. Mr. Gray, would you like the opportunity to speak to Mr. Sims this morning?
Yes, I would.
Let's get you moved into a breakout room. If you reach an agreement, you'll come back out. We'll put it on the record. Otherwise, we'll adjourn this matter for a hearing date.
All right, perfect.
Thank you. This is 2400227 LT, William R. Wood versus Dan Marks, Cody Marks, and Sheldon Marks.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tom DePietro appearing on behalf of the Arwood.
Thank you, Mr. DePietro.
Cody Marks.
Thank you. Dan Marks
Dan
or
Marks.
Sheldon Marks?
Dan Marks. Danny Marks.
Thank you. Would you like the opportunity to speak to Mr. DePietro this morning?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
We'll get you moved into a breakout room. If you reach an agreement, we'll come out, put on the record. Otherwise, we'll adjourn this matter over for further hearing. 2400197 LT, Huron Estates versus John Finley.
Yes, John Finley.
Mr. Finley, have you made application for rental assistance?
No.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Lacy, the representative for Huron Estates this morning?
Yes.
We'll get you moved into a breakout room. She'll be there to speak with you shortly. 2400203 LT, Huron Estates versus Autumn Carson.
Autumn Carson.
Ms. Carson, have you made application for rental assistance?
I have not, Your Honor.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Lacy from Huron Estates?
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll get you moved into a breakout room. She'll be there shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2400206 LT, Huron Estates versus Jason Nichols and Rusty Nichols. Same issue, Ms. Lacy. February 7th at 1 p.m. 2400207 LT, Huron Estates versus Alicia Messer. Alicia Messer. Same issue, Ms. Lacy. We'll adjourn this matter over to February 7th at 1 p.m. 2400212 LT, Birch Run Co-op versus Rashad Best. This case was scheduled at 9 a.m. It's now 9:26 by this court's clock. Neither party has appeared. There is no proof of mailing from the plaintiff's office or personal service or posting of this matter. It is now 9:26. Neither party has appeared. This case will be dismissed. This is 2400217LT Huron Estates versus Billy Thiebert, Theibert. Unmute yourself, ma'am, and state your name for the record.
Billy Thiebert.
Thank you, ma'am. The way court staff have you labeled indicates that you made an application for rental assistance. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you filed Form 539 with the court that puts us on formal notice that you have made that application for rental assistance?
Not yet, ma'am.
Then, ma'am, your case will be adjourned over to that February 7th date at 1:15 p.m. You have 5 days from today's date to file that Form 539. When you were in the breakout room being labeled this morning, did court staff discuss that form with you?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, please have that submitted within 5 days. When you come back on February 7th, please be prepared to provide an update of your application for rental assistance, okay?
Okay.
Ma'am, you're free to go. I will see you back here on February 7th.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is two 2400220LT Huron Estates versus Richard Wallner. Miss Lacy, same issue. February 7th at 1:15. Two 2200221LT Huron Estates versus Bethany Wirtz. Same issue, February 7th, 1:15. Two 2400226LT Willow Country Estates versus Timothy Shepherd.
Good morning, Your Honor. Douglas Swadish appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ma'am, your name?
Robin Shepherd.
And where's Timothy Shepherd?
We have no contact order to PPO, so he is not here.
Mr. Swadish?
Your Honor, Timothy Shepherd is the only tenant listed on the lease, which is why he was the named defendant. So I don't, the service was made by posting. I don't know anything else. We have no personal service, Mr. Shepherd.
But I'm living in the unit, and it says,
Ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ma'am, give me 1 second. No, you're fine. Mr. Swadish, do you want to speak to Ms. Shepherd?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Ms. Shepherd, you'll be moved into a breakout room. Mr. Swadish has a few more cases, and then I will move him in there with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 2400225LT Willow Country Estates, versus Shelby Michalak.
Good morning, Your Honor. Douglas Swadish appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
Thank you. We show posting and mailing by your office.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Defendant has failed to appear this morning. It's my understanding, Mr. Swadish, if I'm reading the new court rule correctly, that means that this case is adjourned to that February 7th date
Yes, Your Honor.
at 1:15. Two 2400225LT Willow Country Estates versus Nicholas Edmonds.
Douglas Swadish, Your Honor, on behalf of the plaintiff.
Same thing, Mr. Swadish. We see posting and plaintiff mailing, no mailing from the court. Defendant's not present. February 7th at 1:15. 2400223LT Willow Country Estates versus Helen Keith.
Good morning, Your Honor. Douglas Swadish appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
Helen Keith. Posting and mailing by the plaintiff, no service from the court, February 7th at 1:30. Is that it for you, Mr. Swadesh?
That is, Your Honor.
If you want to speak to Ms. Shepherd, if there's something you want to place on the record, otherwise come out with an update and we'll figure out what to do next.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. That wasn't bad, Mary Ann.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm sorry.
Judge, I don't see Mr. Sims any
He,
longer.
he disappeared. We were talking, and then he said, "Hold on a minute," and he hung up.
You might need to unlock the room then, Marianne. If he shows back up, we can get them reconnected. I think it's the only thing he has with us this morning. Mr. Cray, if you would give us a moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. There he is.
Looks like I just got in.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, are we back connected?
Mr.
Yeah, we
Mr.
are.
Sims, we'll get you moved back in with Mr. Gray unless you were ready to go back on the record.
Oh, I didn't. My Zoom froze before I even had a chance to talk with him. I apologize.
No worries. We'll get you moved back in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. What happened to 2486?
What case are you looking for, Judge?
I'm looking for 2400086.
I have it. I'm gonna get it to you right now.
Where is it?
It was in the hearing docket.
Oh, it's okay. Good morning, Ms. Methner.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Were you expecting her to come back out, sir?
Um,
Oh,
I
there we
am-
are.
yeah.
This is a recall of 2400226LT Willow Country Estates versus Timothy Shepherd. Mr. Swadesh, you've had an opportunity to speak to Robin Shepherd, the occupant
did.
of the property.
Yes, Your Honor. So I think we're gonna need to come back on the 7th if for no other reason than Mr. Shepherd is the tenant on the lease. However, Ms. Shepherd and I have been talking, and I'm gonna talk to my client, and we may be able to work something out with her as well.
Ms. Shepherd, is that an accurate statement?
Yes, that's correct.
We're adjourning this case over to February the 7th at 1:30 PM. Back here on this same Zoom ID, notice will be mailed to the address we have on record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Shepherd?
I think we're good.
Okay, have a good day, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Swadesh.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too. Ms. Miller, your case is not scheduled until 10 o'clock, so if you would just kindly mute yourself, we'll get back to you momentarily.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Excuse me. This is a recall of 2400227 LT, William Arwood versus Dan Marks, Cody Marks, and Sheldon Marks. Mr. DePietro, Mr. Marks, you've come out of the breakout room. How are we proceeding this morning?
Well, we had a very productive meeting, Your Honor. Cody is here. Dan is his father. He's here. Sheldon Marks moved out 2 years ago. Cody got him by the phone or on the phone and ran our deal by him, and he has no problem with it because frankly, at this point, he could care less as long as there's no money involved. So this is what I think the deal is, Judge. The plaintiff will have a judgment for possession. The plaintiff will waive any back due rent. The defendants agree to vacate the premises on March 1st, 2024. Or a immediate writ will issue for their removal from the premises. No costs to either party. And I believe that's what our agreement is, Judge.
Mr. DePietro, okay. Mr. Dan Marks and Mr. Cody Marks, were you able to hear Mr. DePietro just now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And is everything he said accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've agreed to vacate the property on or before March 1st, 2024.
Yep.
Yes.
And Mr. DePietro, were you submitting this judgment with their signatures, or had you received authorization to sign their names to the judgment?
Well, I was going to ask you that. I don't know how to enter a judgment anymore down there, Judge, with this new system going on. So,
let's do it. I'm sorry, Mr. DePietro. Mr. Marks and Mr. Marks. Usually when people reach an agreement and they're standing here in court, we just pass the form down, everybody signs it and sends it back up. But we're submitting things electronically now. Do you
Yes, that's fine.
authorize Mr. DePietro to sign your name? Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Then Mr. DePietro's office will prepare a consent judgment that indicates that all back rent is waived, that both parties waive costs. I'm sorry, that there are no costs to either party, and that the remaining.
No cost to the party, Ron.
Thank you. And that the remaining Marks will vacate the property on or before March 1st, 2024.
Yes, Your Honor, and I will prepare that judgment and send it to the property address for Cody, Dan, and Sheldon to see with my having signed it. And that way, if they have a problem, they can call me or file an objection, I guess. And
Correct.
And then I'll send it electronically for entry then?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And then before you go, Mr. Marks and Mr. Marks, you were present when the video was played explaining your rights this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understood your rights as a tenant.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the judgment that will be entered or today's proceedings?
Nope.
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That concludes this matter. You're free to go. Keep checking your mail for receipt of the entered judgment. Have a good day.
Thank
You
you,
too.
Judge. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
you.
Mr. Sims and Mr. Gray, 2400232 LT, Conejo versus Gray. You've had the opportunity to speak. Mr. Sims, how are we proceeding?
We did, Your Honor. Yes, we agreed to enter a consent order for conditional dismissal with a vacate date of March 7th. And just request that we'll be able to file the he did give me permission to execute this document on his behalf, and we'll submit it to the court at the end of this hearing here.
You said you did receive his permission?
I did, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gray, you were able to hear Mr. Sims just now?
Yes.
And sir, it's your understanding or agreement that you will vacate this property on or before March 7th, 2024?
Yes,
And that's the entirety of your agreement with Mr. Sims?
yes,
Mr. Gray, were you present when the video was played explaining your rights this morning?
yes,
Did you understand those rights?
yes.
Do you have any questions regarding today's proceedings or conditional dismissal that will be presented to the court?
No,
Then the court will await receipt of the conditional dismissal from Mr. Sims' office signed on behalf of Mr. Gray that indicates that Mr. Gray will vacate on or before March 7th. Is there anything else from you, Mr. Sims?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. That concludes this matter. Mr. Gray, Mr. Sims, you have a great weekend.
thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
Your Honor, or Madam Clerk,
Miss Lacy, yes, ma'am.
I thought I was moving my people back to this room and I have put them somewhere I don't know. Clerk meeting room?
Did you put them in? It looks like you maybe put them in with the clerks. Are we talking about Miss Carson, Mr. Finley?
Yes, and my
They're in with the clerks. Let's get them back out here. I
yes,
don't know what happened.
please. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm so
You're
sorry.
welcome. He's just clogging up my docket this morning. Look at you.
You know, I looked at my caseload. I said, oh Lord, we're gonna be here. I got all your cases.
Well, about half of our cases dismissed. So I was happy to see that 9 o'clock block clear up a little bit. This is a recall of 2400197 LT Huron Estates versus Finley. Mr. Finley, turn your camera on. You've had the opportunity to go into the breakout room. Miss Lacy, how are we proceeding in this matter?
Your Honor, we have had the opportunity to speak in the breakout room. We're going to be entering into a consent judgment. Mr. Finley did make a $700 payment and believes he'll be able to have the final payment by the 1st. I did go over the court rule MCR. Oh Lord, where'd it go? I did go over the
4201.
Yes, 4.201 and advise him of his rights. Right to this date, the rent to retain possession is $739.46. Court cost of $181.68. Total balance to be paid is $921.14.
Miss Lacy, before I inquire of Mr. Finley, does that $739.46 account for the $700 he's paid?
Yes, yes, it does. I
Okay.
changed the numbers.
Mr. Finley, were you able to hear Miss Lacy just now?
Yes.
And sir, this is the consent judgment you wish to enter.
Yes.
And Mr. Finley, you were present when the court played the video this morning explaining the rights available to you.
Yes.
And you wish to waive those rights and have this consent judgment enter.
Yes.
Thank you. And because you appear by Zoom, there is not a signed consent judgment. Have you authorized Ms. Lacy to sign your name to the consent judgment?
Yes.
Do you have any questions at all about the rights you have, Mr. Finley, or these proceedings?
No.
Then Ms. Lacy's office will prepare a consent judgment that shows $739.46 in rent, $181.68 in court costs for a total of $921.14. Once she submits that to the court, I will sign it and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on record. If you have no questions, you're free to go, Mr. Finley. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2400203LT, Huron Estates versus Autumn Carson. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Ms. Lacy, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we're going to be requesting that adjournment date of February 7th for Ms. Carson.
Is that your understanding and agreement, Ms. Carson?
Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Then we will put this matter over to February the 7th at 1:30 p.m. Ms. Carson, notice will be mailed to you at the address that we have on record by court staff. Do you have any questions before you leave this morning?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. That concludes this matter. Ms. Carson, you're free to go. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a recall of 2400188LT Huron Estates versus Brandon. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Ms. Lacy, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did get to speak with Ms. Brandon, and this case also, we're going to be requesting that it be adjourned to the February 7th date. She'll be applying with DHS.
Ms. Brandon, is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
We will put this matter over to February 7th at 1:30 p.m. Ms. Brandon, if you do in fact make an application for rental assistance with DHS, there's a form that you need to complete with the court. It's called 539. If you don't already have a copy of that form, it's available on the court's website under commonly used forms. Or if you have any questions, feel free to call the court's civil department and they will be able to help direct you to that form, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Do you have any questions before you leave this morning?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a good day. I'll see you on the
Thank
7th.
you. You too.
Thank you.
I believe that's all I have to the 10 o'clock docket, Your Honor.
Thank you. And it's the same thing, Ms. Lacy. I'll make announcements.
Yeah.
We'll lock the main room at about 10:15 or so.
Okay.
Thank you. Take your cap off, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm just still at work.
No worries. People forget that we're actually in court. Mr. Ruark and Alf Investments versus McClinton.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, we're not showing service of any kind in this matter. Have you completed service by posting, personal service, or by mail?
Your Honor, I've sent it to Rocco Rossi for service, but I probably was a little bit late with him, so I'm just asking for a 1-week adjournment.
This is 2400254LT, Alf versus McClinton. The court's not showing service. Mr. Rourke is here. We'll put this matter over to February 7th at 1:30 p.m.
Is that the 7th, Your Honor, or the 2nd?
7th, 2/7, 7 the Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
at 1:30 PM. If Carmen McClinton appears, we'll advise them of that same date. Mr. Rourke, I don't know if you want to wait around to see if that person appears.
No, I don't think service has been made yet, Your Honor, so I'm happy with the adjournment.
February 7th at 1:30. I will see you then. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mary Ann, would you go in there and grab some of those people, please?
I was just heading that way.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Friday, January 26th. I am Judge Martin. This is courtroom number 1. Today's docket is exclusively landlord-tenant matters. If you do not have a landlord-tenant case, you are likely in the wrong place. You may send a chat to either Mary Ann or Carly. They are court staff that will help you get where you are supposed to be. At approximately 10:15, the court will lock this courtroom, play a short video that explains the rights that are available to tenants this morning. After that video plays, every case that is scheduled will be called. When your case is called, please be prepared to have your video turned on, unmute yourself, and state your name for the record. If you are driving, please stop driving. If you are smoking, please stop smoking. If you are eating or drinking, please stop doing those things. Attorneys, you will be made co-hosts. You will have the ability to move around so that you may meet with the tenants in this matter. If you see requests to join breakout rooms, that's court staff or attorneys trying to move you into private areas to discuss your landlord-tenant matter.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Sorry.
Mary Ann, I'm missing some functionality. Would you make the attorney's co-host, please, when you get a moment?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, this is courtroom number 1. I am Judge Martin. Today's docket is landlord tenant. If you do not have a landlord tenant matter, you are likely in the wrong courtroom. You may send a message or a chat to either Mary Ann or Carly. They are court staff that will help you get where you are supposed to be. At about 10:15, we will lock this courtroom. We will play a video that explains the rights that are available to tenants this morning. After that video plays, every case will be called. You will have the opportunity to speak to either your landlord, your landlord's attorney or a representative from their office. When your case is called, please prepare to have your video on, unmute yourself and state your name for the record. If you are driving, please stop driving. Your case will not be called. If you are drinking or eating, please stop doing that. If you are smoking, please stop doing that. If you see an invitation to join a breakout room or relocate to another part of this Zoom session, please go there. That's either the attorney waiting to speak to you or court staff trying to assist you in some way. If you have made an application for rental assistance or you're unable to reach an agreement with your landlord's attorney this morning, your case will be adjourned to February 7th. After the court has called the case and you've had the opportunity to place your name on the record, the time for that adjourned date will be provided to you. That being said, we will be locking the session in about 7 minutes. Please be prepared to respond to your case being called. You might want to have paper and pen handy to make notes. And again, when after the court plays the video, court is deemed in session, cases will be called. Please be prepared to participate. We'll get going in about 7 minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, attorneys, last thing, if you filed dismissals of your matters this morning and did not see them in the final review for the docket, you may drop the case number in the chat so we may show those cases as being dismissed. Thank you. Jeremy Williams, 2400277LT.
Yes,
Sir, your case has been dismissed. You're free to go. You have a good day.
thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. The courtroom is locked. We will start to play a video in just a moment that explains the legal rights available to tenants this morning. Attorneys, you have been made co-hosts. At the conclusion of the video, the court will call every case that is scheduled this morning. Tenants, if you want the opportunity to speak to the landlord, we will, or the landlord's attorney, landlord's representative, we will move you into a breakout room to speak to that person. If you reach a resolution or a settlement of the case, we will take the terms of that agreement on the record. If you do not reach an agreement, your case will be adjourned to February the 7th. We will provide you the time after you come out of that breakout session. If you see an invitation or a button pop up that says join the breakout room, please go there. There's someone there waiting to speak to you. If you are driving, stop driving. If you are eating, stop eating. If you are wearing a cap, please remove it. When your case is called, you will be expected to state your name for the record. That being said, it now being 10:15, Mary Ann, if you will play the video, please. Oh, we have unidentified persons in the court's breakout session. Give me just one moment. There is a person being sent a prompt to start their video. We need you to identify yourself so we may begin the session.
Hello.
Hello? Mr. Blackman, your case is being dismissed. You may leave. You have a good day, sir. Mary Ann, lock the session and start the video for me, please. Your volume, Mary Ann.
You have the right to have your case heard.
You need to go back to the beginning, Mary Ann.
Welcome to the 34th District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property, or any part of it, is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal help for homeless veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC 508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
2400228 LT Bill Properties versus Cecil Coleman and Katie Cruz.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gabriel Lacy, P79685 for Bill Properties.
Ms. Lacy, there's no service, there's no posting or personal service. There's court mail and plaintiff mail. This case will be adjourned over to the 7th at 1:30. 2400229 LT Bill Properties versus Delmont Redeemer.
Gabriel Lacy for Bill Properties.
Ms. Lacy, I'll note your appearance going forward. Same thing, no service. This case will be adjourned over to the 7th at 1:30. 2400233 LT Park Estates versus Stasha Chambers.
Gabriel Lacy for Park Estates, Your Honor.
Hi, Stacia Chambers.
Thank you. Ms. Chambers, the way court staff have you labeled indicate that you filed for rental assistance. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you filed the Form 539 with the court that puts the court on formal notice that you've made such an application?
I just found out about that today.
Thank you. Then, Ms. Chambers, your case will be adjourned over till February 7th at 1:45 p.m. You have 5 days to file that 539 form with the court. If you're not sure of how to do that, we can move you back into a breakout room. You can speak to court staff and they can talk you through the process. When you come back on February 7th, be prepared to give an update of your rental assistance application, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need assistance with that form?
I would like to speak with them. Thank you. Yes,
Mary Ann,
ma'am.
let's get her moved in with Carly, please. This is 2400234 LT Park Estates versus Haley Wilson. Same thing, Ms. Lacy, February 7th at 1:45.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 2400236 LT Huron Estates versus Stephen Carmody and Christine Carmody.
Gabriel
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Your Honor.
I'm Christine Carmody.
My name is Christine Carmody, and my son's name is Sean. And I wanted, I'm calling you on the bill I have, lot rent behind on lot rent.
Ma'am, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I can't hear.
Have you made an application for rental assistance?
Yes, I am. I'm going through SER through DHS, and we're applying for Senior Alliance. My son's helping me.
Ma'am,
I'm hard of hearing, Your Honor.
Ma'am, your case will be adjourned over to February 7th at 1:45 p.m. You'll be moved into a breakout room right now to speak to a member of the court staff. There is a form that you need to file
Sick. Oh, okay.
Okay. Your
Thank
Honor.
you. Two four zero zero two three seven LT Huron Estates versus Keith Dyer and Harvey Fry. February 7th, 2 p.m. 2400238 Huron Estates versus Lanika Jones. February 7th, 2 p.m. 2400240 OT Huron Estates versus Thomas McClellan. 2 p.m. February 7th. 2400242 Huron Estates versus Leah Radke and Robert Radke. February 7th, 2 p.m. 2400243 LT Huron Estates versus Shauna Ruiz and Brandon Fondren.
I'm here. Hello?
Turn your video on and state your name.
Shauna Ruiz, I have no video, Your Honor.
Thank you. And do you know where Brandon Fondren is?
My dad would be at work.
Have you made an application for rental assistance?
Yes, but I didn't know about the paperwork I had to fill out and send to the court. And I spoke to the office as well.
Thank you. Ms. Ruiz, your case is being adjourned over to February 7th at 2 p.m. You have 5 days to submit that form, the 539 form, to the court. When you return to the court on February 7th at 2 p.m., please be prepared to provide an update as to that rental assistance application, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. 2400244 LT Huron Estates versus Courtney Solinger and Stacy Klaus. 2 p.m. February 7th. Two 2400247 LT Trade Winds Development versus Jasmine Robinson and any occupant.
Good morning, Your Honor. Randy Lavasser, P41712, appearing on behalf of the plaintiff. Your Honor, we did submit to the court a proposed conditional dismissal this morning. Attached to that conditional dismissal is the advice of rights as provided through the state court administrative office, and the defendant has acknowledged reviewing those.
Thank you, Mr. Lavasser. It wasn't there when I reviewed the files last night. I'll look out for it this morning. We'll get it signed and get it out to you. Is there anything else this morning?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
2400224, you too. 2400249 LT Propel Property versus Kenesha Jenkins.
Your Honor, Adam Devlin, P72877. Your Honor, I submitted a dismissal on this.
Thank you.
Recently.
Just recently. Thank you, Mr. Devlin. 2400250 OT Propel versus Rochelle McCann and April Calloway.
Your Honor, I'll note there's a Rochelle McCann in the Zoom.
I know Miss McCann. Miss McCann. Two 2400266 LT Michigan Acquisitions versus Eric Cullen and Audra Harper.
Your Honor, Adam Devlin, P72877 for the plaintiff.
Mr. Devlin, I'm showing posting by your office, mailing by the court. Case was scheduled at 10 a.m. It's now 10:28. How do you wish to proceed?
Your Honor, we'd ask for a default judgment of possession only to enter, writ dated the 5th of February. This is a termination based off failure to inspect after a foreclosure by advertisement.
The court will enter that default judgment, sir. Please submit it by on base. This
Thank
is 2400268 LT Propel versus Kenesha Jenkins.
Your Honor, Adam Devlin, P 72877 for the plaintiff. This one is also dismissed.
I'm sorry.
There's two.
Is it two cases against the same person?
One was filed in December, one was filed in January. Both were set today. Both were dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Devlin. I'll make that notation. 2400269LT Propel Property versus Chris Foltz and Eddie Foltz.
Your Honor, Adam Devlin, P 72877 for the plaintiff. Your Honor, a few minutes ago, I submitted the dismissal to the court through the e-file system.
I will process it upon receipt, sir. Let's try again for Ms. McCann. State your name for the record and 2400250.
Your Honor, Adam Devlin, P 72877 for the plaintiff.
Mr. Devlin, she's here. She had turned her camera, she had put her face on the camera. Now she's disappeared again. There's a star that indicates that she's made an application for rental assistance. The court will adjourn this matter over to February 7th at 2:15. Ms. McCann has 5 days to file the appropriate DC 539 with the court. When we return on February 7th at 2:15, she will be expected to provide an update regarding the status of the application for assistance. I do not see that there is a Callaway in the courtroom. Defendant number 2, April Callaway, will be showing as a failure to appear this morning. Is there anything else, Mr. Devlin?
I believe that's my entire docket. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too, sir. Oh, Mr. Katz, 2400251, Maxwell versus Michelle Miller.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sidney Katz on behalf of plaintiff.
And Alexa Metner, P86454 on behalf of Ms. Miller.
Have you all had the opportunity to speak, or do you need to speak?
We talked briefly, Your Honor, I didn't mention this to Ms. Metner, but maybe we should just adjourn this till the 7th, and hopefully by then we'll have some clearer understanding. Does that sound right, Ms. Metner?
I agree.
The 7th at 2:15.
Perfect.
Is there anything else, Ms. Methner?
Just since this is the first hearing, Ms. Miller at this point is denying the allegations for the TOT. However, I have spoken to Mr. Katz and we may be able to work something out, but like we said, we need to finalize some stuff and go over a few details.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you back here on February 7th at 2:15. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
2400252LT Birch Run versus Ella Thomas.
I'm here. Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Schlesinger appearing on behalf of plaintiff. Apologize for my tardiness.
Ms. Thomas, you've been in this session. You've heard me indicate that when your case is called, please state your name. You might not
Ella
understand,
Thomas.
but there's, just so we're clear, people who are in this session, there are 20 or 30 squares. And so when you say I'm here, I can't necessarily see you. I want you to state your name so that we know you're here. I hear you now, Ms. Thomas, but I want people to understand. That's why I asked you to state your name, just so we have a clear record that you were here. No, Ms. Thomas is fine. Ma'am, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I haven't heard about it until today, so I'm gonna try to fill it out today for some help, to receive some help for the help pay my rent.
And Ms. Thomas, in as much as you have not already filed such an application, we'll move you into the breakout room, give you an opportunity to speak to Mr. Schlesinger and see if there's some agreement that can be reached. If not, when you come out, we'll recall the case and give you a date to return, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. 2400253LT, Yes Swan Creek versus Sean Potter.
Alex Lubianski, P77121 on behalf of plaintiff.
Ella's here.
Yes, Sean Potter here. Thank you. Ms. Potter, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I have not. That's not, wasn't the issue.
I'm sorry, it's a termination of tenancy. Would you like the opportunity to speak to Mr. Lubianski?
I suppose so. I tried not to have this happen by speaking with the main office, and they told me to walk away from the property, at which time I explained to them I wasn't able to walk away from the property. And I don't understand what, I'm kind of in a position to where I need a place to stay and they don't want to work with me.
But we'll get you moved into a breakout room. You speak with the representative from the property, then you'll come back out here. We'll recall the case. If you have
Your
not
Honor,
reached an
prior to
agreement,
moving
we'll.
to the breakout room, I do just want to indicate for the record, Sean Potter is deceased. I imagine the person speaking is Lisa King. I would just like her to confirm.
Yes, I'm his wife.
Thank you.
So when I asked you to state your name for the record, you stated a name that's not yours?
I'm sorry, that's the name on the paperwork. My name is Lisa King.
Thank you, Mr. Lubansky.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
This is 2400255 LT Trilogy versus Anthony Best.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Gabriel Lacy for Trilogy Properties, Your Honor.
Mr. Best, you have to help me. You just heard me indicate that people need to state their name. Would you do that for me, please?
Yeah, Anthony Best.
Thank you, sir. Have you made application for rental assistance?
No, I haven't.
Would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Lacy regarding this matter?
Yes, I would.
Let's get you moved into a breakout room, sir. Thank you. Two 2400259 LT Trilogy Residence versus Nicole Morris.
Are you guys moving me to it? Okay. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I was waiting to see if you guys were moving me to a breakout room where I could talk with her.
They're trying to, sir. Ms. Morris, please unmute yourself and state your name for the record.
Hello, Nicole Morris here.
Thank you. Ms. Morris, have you made an application for rental assistance?
I have not. I just found out about that today, but I'm prepared to pay the money that I owe.
Would you like, I'm sorry, ma'am, would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Lacy or a representative from Trilogy Residence?
Absolutely.
Then you'll see an invitation to go into a breakout room. Please go there. She'll be there momentarily.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. 2400263 LT Trilogy versus Rodrigo Silva, February 7th at 2:15.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So I have a Christine Carmody in my waiting room. They're not sure why they're in the waiting room, and I'm not sure what is it. Rental assistance?
She's not supposed to be in the waiting room. She's supposed to be going into the Levine waiting room to speak to them.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. 2400264 Trilogy versus Darius Timmons. February 7th at 2:15. 2400265 Trilogy Residence versus Justin Walker. February 7th at 2:15. 2400267 Rawsonville Woods versus Samantha Stone.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rachel Jornbush, Pallets Law, P78301 on behalf of the plaintiff.
Thornbush. I'm sorry, Ms. Thornbush. Samantha Stone. Today was the day and time scheduled for the first hearing in this matter. The court's records show posting and mailing by plaintiff's office and mailing by the court. This case was scheduled at 10. It's now 10:38 by this court's clock. The defendant is deemed as having failed to appear. Ms. Dornbush, how would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, we would request entry of a default possession only judgment with writ to issue on or after February 5th. Your Honor, this was an action for termination of tenancy based on a tenancy at will following issuance of a notice to quit with 1 month's notice.
Thank you, ma'am. Default judgment shall enter as requested by the plaintiff. Please submit that by on base. We'll get it signed and back to your office as soon as possible. Anything else in this matter?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. This is 2400275 LT Country Metals versus Ronald Mirka.
For the record, Your Honor, Rachel Dornbush, Pallets Law, on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ms. Dornbush, on review of this file, I show mailing by the court on January 18th, but no posting or mailing by the plaintiff's office. What's the status of this matter?
Your Honor, if we could pass on this matter, I would like to verify that service has in fact been completed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And if I suspect
Before you go,
Country Meadows matters.
I'm sorry. Country Meadows 2400278. I'm sorry. You were talking when I was talking.
Apologies, Judge. I was gonna say
don't apologize. Were you saying that these other matters need to be passed as well?
I would request that, Judge, just in case.
Just so we're clear, we're talking about 2400278 Country Metals versus Marty Wazinski and Jennifer, I think, Geneva Rosinski. And then there's a case that is labeled 3400273 Country Metals versus Andrea Cooley Bryant and Drake Brown. Mr. Brown was here at some point.
I did see him as well, Judge. If he's still here, that may be one we can dispose of, but I'm happy to pass on all of these until I'm able to clarify with respect to the other two matters.
Thank you. We're passing them all, and Mr. Drake Brown is in your waiting room.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. This is a recall of I see you, Mr. Schlesinger. I just can't find the case number, but this is the matter with Miss Ella Thomas. You've had the opportunity to speak.
Ella Thomas,
2400252. How are you
Yes.
proceeding, Mr. Schlesinger?
Judge, I spoke to Miss Ella. She's going to apply for assistance today or Monday. So I'd ask for a brief adjournment to give her the opportunity to do that. I did tell her that if she does that she should be filing the DC 539 form with the court within 5 days. But for now, I'm comfortable with a brief adjournment, Your Honor, to give her that opportunity.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas, your case is being adjourned over to February the 7th at 2:30 p.m. Court staff will mail notice to you of that new date and time. Ma'am, if you file for rental assistance, you will need to file with the court a document called a DC 539. There's a copy of it on the court's website. If you're not sure of how to access it, we can move you into a breakout room. You can speak to a member of the court staff. When we return on February 7th, please be prepared to provide an update of your rental assistance application, okay?
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else this morning, Mr. Schlesinger?
I think that will do it, Your Honor. I appreciate your time today, Judge.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Thomas?
No, ma'am.
Have a good day, ma'am. You're free to go.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
Mr. Schlesinger, could you give me a moment, please?
Certainly.
You had a case this morning, 2400212. It was Birch Run versus Rashad Best. It was on the court's 9 o'clock docket.
I have it crossed off as dismissed, Your Honor. So that's why I wasn't reporting it.
I wasn't showing a dismissal, and neither party was here, but thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And I will, when I get back to the office, we have a file that I will let staff know, and we'll get it filed with the court ASAP.
Thank you, Mr. Schlesinger. You have a good day, sir.
You too, Judge, and a great weekend, okay?
Thank you. You too. This is 2400250. Propel Property versus McCann.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, would you state your name, please?
Rochelle McCann.
Ms. McCann, this is the 4th time that this case has been called. Mr. Devlin was present. The way the court staff had you labeled originally indicated that you made an application for rental assistance. Is that correct?
Yes, and the Salvation Army been in touch with Propel Property already on paying the fees. They had already, I guess, told me they submitted them a check.
Ms. McCann, when Mr. Devlin was here, that was not the indication that that the court received. What I was starting to say was when the case was called, part of the issue is that we need you to file a form called a DC 539. It is on the court's website. If you're not sure on how to access that, we can move you in with court staff. They can help you get that submitted. You have 5 days to submit that form to the court. Your case is being adjourned to February the 7th at 2:15 p.m. When we return on that February 7th date, please be prepared to provide an update regarding that rental assistance, okay?
Okay,
Anything else?
that would be all.
You're free to go, ma'am. You have a good day.
You too, thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ann, I show a whopping 2 cases on the 11 o'clock docket.
Woohoo, I like that.
And they're both Mr. Pallett's cases, so maybe Ms. Dornbush will be able to follow up on those as well. Mr. Kelps,
Yes, Your Honor.
same thing. If you could help Ms. Dornbush, you're the only cases we have remaining on our 11 o'clock docket. They're Van Buren Estates versus Stacy Cameron. It's 2400280. And Van Buren Estates versus Sophia Pritchett and Tatiana Cochran, 2400286. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I will notify Mr. Dornbush.
Much appreciated. Who are all these people in the waiting room, Marianne? Holy smokes.
I was busy in my office, Judge. I have to figure this out.
Ms. Dornbush?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, were you able to get any updates on your cases?
I am checking still on the proofs of service. I spoke with the court officer. He is certain he served them, and so I'm just trying to get those proofs to provide to the court. I did attempt to speak with Drake Brown in our breakout room, but he was muted and his camera was off, and then he disappeared. So I'm wondering if he signed out.
Well, it looks like Mary Ann has unlocked the courtroom again. There's somebody in the waiting room, clerk's waiting room, waiting to be labeled and everything else. So we'll see what happens here. And then I asked Mr. Kelps about the 2 cases from your law firm that are the only things we still have scheduled at 11 o'clock. So we can try to handle what we can handle.
And looking at those, Judge, I did have 3 cases scheduled for 11. Can I confirm those with Your Honor, just to make sure that we're we're on the same page about those cases?
At 11 o'clock, there's 2400280 Van Buren Estates versus Stacy Cameron.
Got that one.
And 2400286 Van Buren versus Pritchett and Cochran.
Does the court have 2400289 Van Buren versus Richard Werstein?
No, ma'am.
Double check that on my end and make sure we didn't submit a late dismissal.
And I don't, let me look. Somebody else has to look on it. I see Miss Lacy popping back with people. We'll check back at the 11 o'clock case shortly, but let's see what we can get recalled here. This is a recall of 2400239 Huron Estates versus Carmody. Ms. Lacy, you've had a chance to speak to her. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we are going to just adjourn for the next hearing. Ms. Carmody has let me know she is applying for DHS, and I would like to speak with if they would like to speak with the clerk about how to turn in that form. But yeah, the February 7th date, and I think I wrote down 1:45. I'm not sure if that's the correct time.
That's a correct time. Ms. Carmody?
She said Miss Carmody?
Yes.
Or sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm just in,
Good
I'm
morning,
her son,
sir.
Your Honor. I'm just
No,
interpreting.
sir, you're fine. No.
Okay.
You're fine. Listen, I just want your help. The case is being adjourned over to the 7th at 1:45. Notice will be mailed, but we're going to move you into a room with the clerk so that you can get the correct form submitted, okay?
Okay.
Other than that, I'll see you on February 7th. Have a good day. This is a recall of 2400259 Trilogy versus Morris. I see both parties. You have had the chance to speak. Miss Lacy, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. This one also, we are going to be adjourning onto the next hearing date. She believes she'll have the payment in full by the 16th. So the February 7th date will work.
Ms. Morris, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And I wanted to talk to the clerks about the forms I need, just in case I need to apply for more assistance.
Ma'am, your case will be adjourned over to February the 7th at 2:30 p.m. And we'll get you moved into the clerk's room. She'll talk to you about the 539 file form that you need to file if you are in fact, or if you do in fact apply for rental assistance. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Mr. Best?
Yes. Anthony Best.
Yes, give me one moment, please, sir. Mr. Best, if you have the opportunity, this is 2400255 LT Trilogy versus Anthony Best. The parties have been in the breakout room. Ms. Lacy, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we're also adjourning this to the February 7th day. Mr. Best is anticipating a lump sum payment soon. And the February 7th date will work out. Hopefully we'll be pursuing a dismissal.
Thank you. Mr. Best, is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Sir, your case is being adjourned over to February 7th at 2:30 p.m. Notice will be mailed to you at the address that we have on file. Do you have any questions regarding this morning's proceedings?
No.
Thank you, sir. You're free to go. You have a great day.
Thank you.
I believe that's all I have, Your Honor. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Ms. Lacy. Have a great weekend.
You too. Go Lions.
Go Lions. Ms. Hubbard, I pulled you out because I pulled your attorney out and there's nobody in his chair. Ms. King is here on the Potter matter 2400253. As soon as the attorney returns, we'll get a status update regarding this matter so we can close out the court's docket for the day, okay?
Yes, ma'am. He went to go
Thank
speak with
you.
his boss. I appreciate you.
No worries, understood. Now we're back to Ms. Dornbush. Oh, Mary Ann, that's what it was. I wanted to look at this case. I have to pull up the.
My apologies, Your Honor. I thought I was still in my
No,
breakout
I'm
room.
sorry. No, I know. I'm sorry. I pulled you out because Ms. King is sitting in our Zoom room, but I'm checking on something real quick for Ms. Dornbush. You've had a chance to speak to, I'm sorry. This On Base and I we have a love-hate relationship today. Ms. Dornbush, I do show that case 289 is being scheduled today, but it's not on our docket for some reason, huh?
You know what, Judge? I'm not sure what happened. I looked in the online ROA as well, and it does show, issuance of the summons, but the hearing date isn't there for that one like it is for the other matters that were filed along this one. So I was trying to investigate that one as well. And honestly, I'm not sure what happened.
Well, it looks like court mail got done. Court mail was completed on January the 19th.
Because
The
they're putting you
summons
back in the main
shows.
because she said you told us twice that you didn't apply for rental assistance when we did tell her. God, she was rude.
I'm sorry, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
We
You're
got
not smoking
transferred
in
to the
court.
clerk. She was very rude.
Okay. No, sir, listen, here's the thing. Court's in session and you came out of the breakout yelling and smoking. And yeah, we don't do that, okay? I understand
mean
that
for that,
you
Your
might,
Honor.
that's okay, listen, you might not have had the best experience, but let's try to get that rectified. There is a form that you need to complete. It's on the court's website. It's called the DC 539. It's on, if you go to the court's website, if you know how to use, navigate the system, it's mi34thdistrictcourt.com. There's a button that says forms. You just go under there, you find the form DC 539. You have 5 days to submit it. If you don't have a computer at home, you can come into the court and have that form completed and submitted to the civil department, okay?
Okay, and do I just go to the clerk's office for that, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm very sorry, and I really apologize for that, Your Honor. I was my mother, but she
listen,
told me that she said that we told her that we didn't apply for assistance. We did. I just told her we applied for assistance, and then she got real mean with me.
Sir, we've
Back
moved
to
on
you,
from
so
that.
I'm
You and I
sorry
are on the
about that,
same
Your
page
Honor.
now. No, you're fine. Listen, we're on the same page now. You're free to disconnect. I will see you on
Okay.
the 7th. Okay?
Have a great day, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
You
once
too. Thank
again.
you. Thank you. Ms. Dornbush, I see that there's a date and time on the summons, but if you're not showing it, and it's not showing properly on our docket, we can put it over to your next appearance date and treat it as a,
Is there a proof of service in the file by chance, Judge?
okay. I am sitting here actively on the docket. The next person that comes in here and upsets my system is gonna get, hey, this is what you're gonna get. This is what you're gonna get, right? No, somebody made it for me. They're taking pictures at what time?
Right now.
I'm not leaving my docket to take pictures. Are you insane?
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware.
Stop. There's court mail, Ms. Dornbush. There's no other kind of service.
Gotcha, Your Honor. Would the court be willing to maybe take the proofs under advisement, and if we can get proof of service filed, then we can take the judgment?
If you have appropriate service filed with the court will enter it as a default. If not, I'll hold it in my queue until Monday. So if you were able to get the proofs of service uploaded before Monday, the 29th, we'll take it as a default. Otherwise, we'll reschedule it to that February 7th date at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm
And
sorry
on
for
those
all
other
extraneous
matters,
talking.
the,
It's just been a day.
Those Country Meadows matters, Your Honor, we were able to upload those proofs of service to the True Filing system. I don't know if that made its way to Your Honor's desk yet, but we were able to upload those.
Well, I haven't seen it. I see that Ms. Pritchett has joined us now. Let me close out the 10 o'clock portion of the docket with Mr. Lubianski and Ms. King, and then I'll circle back to these 11 o'clock cases.
That sounds great, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Recall of 2400253LT, Yes Swan Creek versus Sean Potter. I have your appearances already. Sir, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we were not able to come to an agreement today, so we are seeking the adjourned date of February the 7th.
2:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. King, is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. That concludes this matter. I will see you back here on the 7th at 2:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh. Now, Ms. Dornbush, was your comment regarding the uploading of services the same for the 2400275 Country Meadows versus Mirka?
Your Honor, we uploaded the proofs of service on the Country Meadows matters. There was 3 of them that were part of the 10 o'clock docket.
Okay, so that will show that as pending. 2400278 Country Meadows versus Wasinski. We'll show that as pending. And then 34, we had to fix that case number. 3400273OT Country Meadows versus Coley, Bryant, and Brown. Mr. Brown was here. I thought he had come back at some point. We'll show that as pending.
Judge, I believe he's the gentleman in the orange. I can't get him to connect to audio.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. You're muffled. You say you believe he's what?
I believe he's in my waiting room. I can't get him to connect to audio. And I gave him the call-in number to try and get him to call in, and he's not doing so. He's the Aristo 5.
Don't move him. Don't move him. Mm-mm. 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 I can't. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Thank you, sir. What is your name? I'm sorry?
Drake Brown.
Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, have you made an application for rental assistance?
No, I haven't. I never heard of that before.
Just so the record's clear, this is 3400273.
Yes.
Mr. Brown, would you like the opportunity to speak to Ms. Dornbush, the representative from Pallett's Law Firm?
I mean, yeah, sure. Yes, that's fine.
Then Ms. Dornbush, we will move you into a breakout room with Mr. Brown. We will lock this main session after you're moved. We'll play the video for the sole case that still remains pending at 11 o'clock, that Ms. Pritchett matter, okay?
That's perfect, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pritchett?
Yes.
Ma'am, there is a video that is going to be played here in a moment.
Okay.
After the video is played, we will have your case formally called. You will have the opportunity to discuss it with your landlord's representative this morning, okay?
Okay, sweetie.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Mary Ann, if you would be so kind.
Welcome to the 34th District Court. Please listen carefully for information about your rights and resources that may be available to assist you. Please have paper and a pen handy. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you may qualify for legal aid assistance. There may be a representative from Lakeshore Legal Aid available today to speak with you, or you can contact them at 888-783-8190. You have the right to have your case heard in the proper venue. If the property is not located in the 34th District, you can ask the court to transfer your case to the district where the property, or any part of it, is located. You have the right to demand a jury trial. If you want a jury trial, you must tell the court today or make the demand in writing within 5 days of today's hearing. You can use Form MC-22 Jury Demand and file it with the court. You must pay $50 when you make your demand, or within 5 days of the court advising you of this right. You do not have to pay the jury fee if you have asked the court to waive fees and the court has approved your request under MCR 2.002. If your landlord has asked for you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDHHS, a local coordinated entry agency, a housing assessment and resource agency, or a federal Help for Homeless Veterans program. You should have received information on local rental and housing assistance with the summons. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint from your case are enough. If your case is for non-payment and you have already applied for assistance from one of these agencies, be sure to let the court clerk or the judge know when your case is called. You will be required to submit written proof to the court within 5 days of today's hearing. Your landlord-tenant case can be resolved in a number of ways. You may be able to reach an agreement with the landlord by going through a Michigan or local community dispute resolution program. You can find a program at courts.my.gov/CDRP. You may also reach an agreement with the landlord that will mean the case gets dismissed. A conditional dismissal is possible when approved by all parties. You can use Form DC-508, Consent Order for Conditional Dismissal, Landlord-Tenant, and file it with the court. Information about your other rights and the legal process is available through Michigan Legal Help at www.michiganlegalhelp.org. Additional information on legal resources, housing assistance programs, and court forms are available on our website at www.mi34thdistrictcourt.com/department/civil. Thank you for your attention. Your case will be called shortly.
This is 2400286 LT. This is Van Buren Estates versus Sophia Pritchett and Tatiana Cochran.
Yes.
Ma'am, where is Miss Cochran?
She's right here with me.
Ma'am, would you state your name for me, please?
Tatiana Cochran.
Thank you. Have you applied for rental assistance in this matter?
No.
No.
How did you intend to proceed this morning?
Well, I'm going to have the money for rent on Monday. And I promised her that I would do it on Monday.
You promised whom, ma'am?
My landlord, Jennifer.
There is an attorney here for Pallett's law firm. Let's see. She's in the breakout room with someone else right now. If you give us just a moment. You said Jennifer. I see Jennifer Bowles here.
Yes.
Judge, this is Lisa Kozak. I'm actually the manager here. Jennifer's my assistant. If you need anything.
Well, Miss Pritchett, no, Miss Dornbush is back. Miss Dornbush, Miss Pritchett is here She's indicated that she's had conversation with Jennifer from the Van Buren Estates office that she'll be making payment on Monday.
Lisa, my client representative is here as well. Lisa Kozak from Van Buren. Lisa, are you aware of any communications between Ms. Pritchett and Jennifer?
Yes, she was in the office the other day.
Okay, and are you comfortable with adjourning this to the next date to allow Ms. Pritchett time to pay in full?
We can, but at that point, February's rent is also going to be due.
Absolutely, Ms. Pritchett. Your Honor, actually, I don't want to take up the court's docket time. If court prefers, I'm happy to speak to Ms. Pritchett in a breakout room. Oh, wait, I forgot. This is the only case left to go. Sorry, Judge.
Now, Ms. Pritchett and Ms. Cochran,
Yes.
the court is adjourning your case over to February the 7th at 2:30 p.m. You will log back onto this same Zoom ID number. What will happen is if you pay in full what is owed, and Ms. Kozak has already indicated that February's rent will come due, if you're paid up, the attorney's office will file a dismissal and you will not need to come back, okay?
Okay.
All right.
But if you're not current on the rent, be prepared to log back on February 7th at 2:30, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Ms. Pritchett, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, Judge.
Ms. Cochran, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You
And
too.
you too.
Thank you. This is a recall of Country Meadows versus Coley, Bryan, and Brown. Mr. Brown, you've had the opportunity to speak to Ms. Dornbush. Ms. Dornbush, how are we proceeding?
Yes, Your Honor, I did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Brown. We've reached terms for a proposed consent judgment. Your Honor, at present, there's a total due including court costs of $2,070.17. Of that, rent to retain is $1,821.34. Court costs of $248.83. Mr. Brown has indicated that he can pay that $2,070 on or before February 9th. And since that's an extension of the writ date, we've agreed that he will also pay the February rent then by February 16th. I did advise Mr. Brown of his rights under the court rule, as well as his rights to an adjournment to seek rental assistance. I advised him of the right to an attorney, right to a trial as well, and the 3 days to reconsider this agreement. And I did also get permission from Mr. Brown to sign the consent judgment on his behalf. We would request entry of a default judgment with the same terms as to Ms. Coley Bryant.
Mr. Brown, were you able to hear Ms. Dornbush just now?
Yes.
Is everything she said correct, sir?
Yes.
Were you logged on when the court played the video explaining the rights you had available this morning?
I was having a little difficulty because I'm up here at my job and it was Wi-Fi appearance is crazy. But yes, I've understood everything, understand everything.
Mr. Brown, did you have any questions about those rights or the proceedings this morning?
No, ma'am.
Then Ms. Dornbush will prepare a consent judgment with the terms that she just placed on the record. The court will sign it, and a copy will be mailed to you at the address we have on file. If you have no questions, Mr. Brown, you're free to go. You have a great day.
You too. Have a wonderful weekend, Judge.
Thank you. You too, sir. That concludes this court's docket. We will stand adjourned. Ms. Dornbush, thank you for your assistance this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. And so for the other ones where we did submit the proofs of service, we'll go ahead and submit the defaults then. And
Thank you. Yes.
for the other ones for Van Buren, if we get those proofs of service uploaded, we'll submit defaults with those as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful
too.
weekend.
You too.